Good morning. Happy Hump Day. You're in the back room with Becky. And as you can see, the swelling is gone down. It is the craziest disease I have ever known. What are we talking about? Lymphedema. And what it is literally is the swelling of the lymph nodes. And lymph nodes are all over your body. I had no idea. Everybody's, oh, you need to probably get off salt. That don't have anything to do with my swelling. This is totally about an immunosuppressant issue. No, not like AIDS. Ooh, people are so crazy. But what actually happens is the lymph nodes gather fluid as a part of their process all the time. My lymph nodes, I guess, some of the triggers they said is, stress, not enough rest, things like that. Um, but I was just literally, gained 40 pounds overnight. And then the next day, of course, with going back and forth, they give you water pills, really, and massages is the only thing that they can do. Now there have been some people with this disease who have the one, with the where you see the elephantitis type legs, and yeah, those are extreme cases of lymphedema. I don't have issues with the skin being so swollen that I have skin breakage or anything like that. But it is painful. And on top of the arthritis and, having a jacked up back, that's really just like, I'm like, ooh, hold on, God. Can you stop Satan for a minute? Don't send nothing else my way. So, in his infinite wisdom, I have absolutely healthy heart, moderate to mild hypertension, and things of that nature. But then I'm in my 50s now, so I'm like, I don't know too many people in their 50s that don't have anything to deal with. Even some of the healthiest people may have underlying conditions, and that's my point. Um, how do you know you have an underlying condition? You need to get a checkup regularly. Full size women, as opposed to half size. I never understood the full figure queen size. Just let's say BBWs. Uh, you really have to watch your health. You really have to go and be routinely checked out. Now I know there's some people that say, we get stuff. No, it's really for real. There comes a time when we have to be realistic, and I am one of the proponents that hey, you as young as you feel, and I do it and everything that I enjoy doing. But the problem with that is that my body has gone through a series of things, and being on my feet is, for a long period of time is why I had to retire from teaching. So, I don't say this lightly. I'm saying, that all people need to, really right now because we live in a stressful time. There, my doctor said to me one day after going through a particularly grueling week, and then I had an appointment with him, and my blood pressure was elevated with 103. I said, I was like, I don't doubt that my blood pressure is up. It's hot as hell out there. Me coming into the doctor's office, I guess he could hear it in my voice, and he was like, "Well, I really would like for you to participate in some less stressful activities." I wanted to look at him and say, I live in the hood, and my skin is brown. Stress is a part of the deal because when you don't, we have too many responsibilities, not enough resources. Oftentimes, instead of, when people think when you have a large family or something like that, an extended family does not a support system make. My strongest support system has been my online friends and, others, my neighbors, my extended family that's out of town. They're not even here. But I love my family. I just think that they have gotten so accustomed to me being superwoman, and I programmed them that way. They say you teach people how to treat you, and they just felt like I could handle anything because I was handling serious situations at a young age. I didn't have a choice. When my brother was murdered, my mother went into shock. I had to identify the body. I was the first on the scene. I had to go through the court trial, all of that. 22 years old. I was still a baby. I had never done funeral arrangements, and I was so emotional. But my mom had lost her firstborn and her only son. So my thing was, you know, suck it up. And that's always been my way. And if something is difficult, I don't tell myself I can't do it. I tell myself, suck it up. This got to get done. And if you don't do it, it's not going to get done. I used to always be an advocate for people in the workplace. And when I was in corporate America, we had a situation occurring that was just wrong. And at the onset, everybody was on board. I was like, we're going to sue these people. They can't do that. And they were all gung ho in the private meetings. But when it came time to get in front of those people and state our case and complaints, I looked around, it's always people always telling you to lead the charge. When you will follow your lead. And you look back and you be like, what, where did everybody go? It's just like that. We I used to tell my mother all the time, I said, baby, I said, I don't really fear nobody but God. I done had some of everything in the world happen to me, broke up in car accidents, abusive relationships, being beat down, raped and assaulted, you know, uh, witness to a murder, taking care of family members and watching them die. So, death is not the worst thing in the world to me. It's not. It is, to me, you pass over into another phase of life until the resurrections and stuff. And I don't think that people really, like some people are so afraid when they get close to death. I've seen people die hard. I've seen people die easy. And, even to my pet, I've held people in my arms when they do their last breath. I've held, animals because I don't believe in putting dogs down. I still have an issue with that. I know a lot of people say that the animals are suffering and do. Well, I made them bring my dog home from the vet, and that was my decision. And yes, it was hard, and I sat with him all day as he was passing. And at one point, he was like, you know, uh, convulsing, because the pain was so bad, his body was just jerking. I've been in that kind of pain where you just don't. And I said, I just started till he was gasping for air. I said, stop, stop struggling, stop fighting, let go. And it was like as soon as I said those words and I started to smooth his fur and just speak to him in a whisper, I had my hand on his heart. The side of a dog is where you can feel their heartbeat. And I felt the last heartbeat. Now, I had been nursing him and feeding him out of a spoon all day. And I was calm, cool, collected. My mother was like, Becky, I'll take turns with you. You need to rest. 8 hours. My mother and I went from one part of this family room to the other because he would get up and he'd move. And I knew then that I probably, as much as I don't believe in putting a dog down, if I should ever have another pet, and my dog lived 13 years. That's why I said, he had a good life. In people years, he was like 90 something years old when he died. So when people, no, I couldn't keep him alive. There was no surgeries and nothing else. It was not a good idea. He was an old dog. He needed to be comfortable and with the people he loved. Like I say, if we start just taking old people out and say, oh, well, they suffering, let's put them down. That whole thing about euthanization being uh, mercy killings. I don't. That's God's business. You interfering. He gonna take people out when he get ready to. He brought you here when he got ready to. So what we're talking about today is death, departure, and loss. And I want to leave you with one word. Well, not one word. One sentence that my mother told me that resonated with me, and she said, "All great love end in tragedy." Two sentences actually. By death or separation. And I didn't understand her at the time. My sister she had this big tattoo, love is pain. And I was like, weren't you into sadomasochism? Da, da, da. She said, no. And my mother said this quote to us on the porch. Now this girl's in her 20s, and I was in my 40s, and I was like, I don't understand why she's tripping like that. And mother was like, no, no, that's not what she means. Now my mother is, a whole nother generation removed, but she knew just from reading that girl's tattoo that all great love ended tragedy by death or separation. So love the one you have. Love the people that are in your life. And love yourself. Be good to yourself today. Peace, love for the people. It's going to be up to 105 in KC today. Please take care of yourselves. One love.